Hey guys, I'm Hank. Today we're gonna show you a section of our store, our DC trade section. It's a long overdue video. We want to showcase what we have in stock, and we want to highlight certain books. And just to let you know, next week is our end of our sale. We have a 20% sale on every trade in the store. For members, it's 30% off. So the sale ends next week. And remember, DC started to ship the books this week. So small, 5 titles. Every week they're gonna ship about 5 titles. And on May 20th, I think Diamond goes back to normal. So it's gonna be a regular schedule. So we're all getting ready for that. But until then, I'm gonna show you a virtual tour of our DC section with a highlight on certain items. That's very important, okay? All right, let's take a look. Our first item, let me show you what we have here. I curated a certain amount of books that I think is very important. When we go to our bookcase, the first thing you're gonna see in alphabetical order is our vertical section. I know the vertical section has been disbanded, which I thought it was a mistake. But one of the most important uh, staples of the vertigo and in comics in general is the Sandman. Now, Sandman is an award-winning story that's outside of the sports superhero realm, and I think it really pushes the envelope for the comic as pop culture. It's written by Neil Gaiman, probably one of the top 2 or 3 greatest comic writers of all time. Each book is self-contained, and it's called the Rolls Royce of comics. So I'll just leave it at that. The more you read it, the more every time you read it, you get something new out of it. All right. So the second one I'm gonna highlight is The Scalped. It's written by Jason Aaron, another great prolific writer. He's mostly known for Thor. So he's been writing Thor for like 2 3 years, and Scalped is a another award winner. I believe he won the comic of the year. It's about a FBI agent. He goes undercover to an Indian reservation, and it's so well written that it's like a must pick up. There's 10 books, 10 smaller books, or 5 larger books. It's another must. Another great book, another great writer. Brian K. Vaughan is also considered one of our greatest writers right now, top 2 or 3. Um, Why the Last Man is very significant now because of what's happening with COVID 19. So it's very it makes more sense now. Why the Last Man is about a young man who he becomes the last male on Earth. For some reason, there's a virus and all the males die. So him and his pet monkey becomes the only male uh, person in a women dominated world. So, but stuff happens that you don't think would happen. So if you look at that, it says winner of 3 Eisner. It's considered required reading for any comic book reader. It is spectacular, not to be missed. Another great writer and another great book, Batman Damned. So Batman Damned was the very first book to come out of the DC Black Label. Now DC Black Label does not really replace Vertigo. It's more of an adult imprint. So Batman Damned is very it's by the way, it's drawn and painted by Lee Bermejo, another award winner. You notice it's oversized. It's almost like a magazine format. It's 3 issues. It's very biblical because it's I guess Batman is considered the guy who killed Joker or something. It's tough to explain, but it's very controversial. It's the book that got fame, not because of the story, because it was the first book to show Batman's junk. So there you go. Another great book, another top writer. He paired up with one of the greatest artists living today, Jim Lee, who became the CEO and the publisher of DC. Jeff Loeb. This chronicles a story of a Batman, and it's more of a sort of like a love story with Catwoman. There's like a lot of tension, and it's like it's almost like a whodunit that all these his past villains come alive, and they try to destroy Batman. But there's like an ulterior motive. Somebody's pulling the strings, and um, I believe it's like a 12 issue maxi series, and the ending is just spectacular. But the best part of the book is not just the writing, but it's the art. It's some of the best art that Jim Lee has ever done. It's like a tour de force, and each page and panel looks like a cover. I mean, it's spectacular. You know, he's at his top form when he did this book. Another great book is that came out last year, the Metal series. Metal. This one is the origin of all the characters. This one kind of introduces all the new characters that merged with Batman, like Batman Who Laughs, the Damned, and all those characters. So this is the individual stories that introduces those characters. It's collected in one volume. Uh, another great book, and some people think this is one of Batman's greatest stories. My friend Matt Klein, Valiant, he keeps telling me this is the greatest Batman story ever, or greatest book ever. Um, it's again Jeff Loeb. Jeff Loeb writes it, and very dark maxi series. So it's another great book you should check out. And one of my favorites is Batman Rebirth, which started or fixed everything that had to do with New 52. So New 52 came out with a bang, but kind of failed because there was so many plot holes. So Jeff Johns, who I think is one of their top writers. I keep saying top three, but he's right up there. He's basically the architect of DC. So all the problems DC would have with storylines, he would come in and fix it and make it better. So he came in, fixed everything, and this is the result. And this really starts the rebirth. So look at that cover. See the cover? It's like a Michelangelo cover, and it kind of makes sense. As you read it, everything kind of fits into place. But this is the reason. This is the book that fixed New 52, and it's the current storyline. And then another great story is Flashpoint. So in Flashpoint, uh, Flash kind of alters the whole timeline. Yeah, it alters everything, and then I believe New 52 is created from this. But out of this main story, a lot of other stories come out. Like uh, there's a Thomas Wayne story where Flashpoint Batman is like a little twist on the original origin, where uh, Batman is actually Thomas Wayne, and Joker is Martha Wayne, the mom, and actually Bruce Wayne dies in that story. So it's a little a twist to the original storyline, but it's brilliant. Written by again Jeff Johns. Uh, One of the best books to come out in a long time, and I think, in my opinion, and I apologize if you disagree, the only good book to come out of DC with the addition of Brian Michael Bendis. Okay, Brian Michael Bendis is famous for creating um, Spider-Man, the Black Spider-Man, who's Miles Morales, right? So he creates Naomi, a very mysterious character. But the reason I like this book is the way it's written and where it's drawn. It's brilliant, brilliantly drawn by David Walker. And as it introduces the character, you kind of like go through the storyline. Like she's like sort of like a reporter, I believe. I could be wrong, but I think she's like a sort of like a reporter. And through her eyes, we see her meeting Superman and the connection. but it's brilliant. It's a great new character. I hope they do something more with it, because after this book they just stopped. But this is like a must read. I think this gotta be Superman's best book. Superman Red Sun, written by Mark Miller. Um, and again, I'm gonna say it. He's one of the top 3 writers living today. Mark Miller, pure genius. So this story is what if it's almost like an Elseworld story, whereas what if Superman landed in Russia instead of Smallville? So he becomes the champion of Russia. So the story goes becomes Superman Red Sun, and recently became a DC animation. Okay, I'm gonna pause for a second, guys. All right, guys, sorry about that. Customer came to pick up something curbside. So okay, we're gonna go through our famous book rack. All right, so it's racked alphabetically, but it starts off with Vertigo first. So it's alphabetical by Vertigo. Starts off with Honda Bullets. Got Honda Bullets. It goes to American Vampire, which I think catapulted Scott Snyder to fame. He was so good at it, they let him try Batman Black Mask, and then the rest is history. And then Animal Man, you got Book of Magic, DMZ, Brian Wood, Ex Machina. There's also Brian K. Vaughan. You know, Brian K. Vaughan is his dialogue is just unbelievable. I think he writes the best dialogue of anybody. I mean, he's such a great writer. Got Fables. You got the girl with the dragon tattoo, Invincibles, Hellblazer. You got Lucifer, Northlanders, Preacher, which became a TV show. Punk Rock Jesus. You guys got to get this. This is Sean Murphy. Unbelievable book, because it's self-contained, one book. They get the cloth from Turin, the Shroud of Turin, and they get his DNA, and they clone Jesus for a reality TV show. So they do a reality show every day. But when Jesus gets a little older, he says rebel. He joins this punk rock band. So he becomes punk rock Jesus, and it's really Jesus. But it's a brilliant story. It's a must read. Like I said before, Sandman. You can read it in any order. The Rolls Royce of comics. There's a new Sandman series. There's a Sandman imprint with the universe that just came out from the Young Animals line. And then there's another one, Scalped, Jason Aaron. Brian Azzarello with Spaceman. You got Alan Moore, Swamp Thing. Oh, I forgot to mention Alan Moore. Alan Moore probably did as much for comics as anyone. I mean, he's done as much as Jack Kirby, Frank Miller, Ditko. He just, you could say he was the original Frank Miller or original Mark Miller. This guy's the writing is just insane. If you could ever make a living plant into a classic, you know how good of a writer he is. Okay. Then you got Transmetro. It's Warren Ellis. It's a little, I guess, apocalyptic. I haven't read it, so I can't really comment on it. But it's kind of quirky, but it sells. Another one is Unwritten. I think it's a little biblical too. Another book I haven't read. This book is just Why the Last Man, unbelievable. Okay, we got next line is Aquaman. Now we're getting to the superheroes. They're all alphabetized. You got Batgirl. Then you got the Batman line. You got the New 52, all the Batmans. Then hold on, I'm gonna move the bookcase, guys. Show you some more of the Batmans. Sorry. All right, so you got more Batmans here. We're trying to use every inch of space. And then after Batman, Probably there's more trades of Batman than any other book, and none of them really gets boring. Okay, we got Catwoman. We got the Convergence, which I thought was a terrible mistake on the part of DC. It was a horrible, horrible crossover. This is when they moved to California, to Burbank. They gave us this crap. I'm sorry, I gotta call it what it is. One of the first and the greatest crossover events ever. Crisis on Infinite Earths. This is a new cover by Alex Ross. Original art by George Perez. George Perez is the only guy that could actually even attempt a maxi series like this. I guess this was, correct me if I'm wrong, but the original crossover event, and it delivered. It was so good. And it introduces us to all the different universes and the multiverses. This is a one of the staples of comics right there. And the next one, we got Dark Knight's Metal. This one is the 6 issues that introduced the Dark Multiverse. So, they find the other side of the multiverse called the Dark Multiverse, and when they enter it, there's a lot of these familiar villains. They merge with Batman, and then you get a new character like the Damned or Batman Who Laughs. And this is the compilation of the 6 issues. A great read. Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo really hit it out of the park. Great book. Okay, I know it's getting long, so I'm gonna try to condense it a little bit. Okay, Doomsday Clock. This is the sequel to Watchmen. First 6 issues. Again, Jeff Johns. This book is unbelievable. Gary Frank's art is just phenomenal because each panel looks like a cover. The detail is just detail and the composition is just out of this world. And he's done it in the same style as the original Watchmen with I believe I forget the artist's name. Yeah, let me know in the comments who the artist was. But this is brilliant. The first 6 issues. The part 2 should have came out, but it's on hold because of the COVID. I think it's gonna be released any day. The second part collects issues 7 through 12. But another brilliant book. All right, and then we have. I'm having trouble putting it in. Okay. You got Earth 2, Elseworld Superman, Flashpoint, all the different storyline involving with Flashpoint. You got Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern. All of them are great. You got the Jeff John run Flash. You got the new 52 Futures, and it was so. I didn't like it too much. Okay, you got Flash Year 1, Hanna-Barbera Future Quest. You got Grayson and Gotham Academy. Then you got the Green Lantern run. Another great book here, also written by Jeff Johns. Now, let me tell you a little bit about this book. This is what makes Jeff Johns such a great architect and a genius. So before this book, I wasn't a fan of Green Lantern. And a lot of people who are casual readers were not fans either because it was so damn confusing. There's too many Green Lanterns, too many rings, who's Guy Gardner, too many universes. I don't know what the hell was going on. But Jeff Johns, being a genius that he is, he retold the entire history of the Green Lantern Corps, but he wove it into the story. So it's not like he's dictating the story. It's woven in there. So just by reading this fantastic story, you know exactly who everybody is. You know the entire universe. And, the main character or the main villain is Sinestro. Obviously, that's why it's called Sinestro Cold War. And this is a complete collection. It completes part 1 and 2. This is a must read. Even if you're not a Green Lantern fan, this is a must read. It's that good. I became a Green Lantern fan after this book, and I haven't read anything good in the Green Lantern wise. So Jeff Johns, I know you're taking a lot of crap lately, but you've done good. You're definitely the architect of DC, and you got to keep doing it because nobody knows the history and the direction of DC like you. Okay, you got Green Lantern Year One. You got the Injustice. Now, Injustice is very unique because it was a game first, a PlayStation game, um, and it catapulted the writer Tom Taylor into superstardom. And he became such a great writer. They gave him deceased after that. But basic storyline to Injustice um, is Superman kills somebody in the air in a fight, and then it turns out he killed, um, I believe, Wonder Woman who was carrying his baby, um, and then the reason is I think one of the villains kind of gave him confusion and tricked him into it. So he gets so angry he becomes almost like a godlike you know creature, and he becomes almost like an evil character. So that's what Injustice is about. Um, Great run, and it really made Tom Taylor, who was already a famous New York Times bestselling writer, even more fame. Now he's getting steady work from both Marvel and DC. Another great book, Joker's Greatest Jokes, compiles all his great hidden stories. Got the JLA run. Um, this is a must read also. So this one is the Dark Side War with Jeff Johns. See that name? It keeps coming up. He did all the great books. Jeff Johns. First time we see Batman in the Mobius chair, where when you sit in that chair, you could see past, present, and future instantly. So that's one of the stories. You got Justice League. You got Nightwing, Red Lantern, Raven, Shade. This is the new imprint, Young Animals. You got Robin, Suicide Squad, Superman. You got Earth One Superman. You got all that. And then we got the New Teen Titans, Wonder Woman, and then our DC section ends. So that's basically it, guys. So this is our DC section. We get new stuff literally every week. Now I'm gonna pull back the camera a little bit, and I'm gonna briefly introduce our independent section, Indie Comics. Indie Comics is basically anything that's not Marvel or DC. I'm gonna do a brief introduction to the major indie books, and then I'm gonna show you briefly some of the indie books in the bookshelf. Okay, the first one is Black. Now, Black was a Kickstarter book. It got option for a movie now. One of the greatest premise for indie book ever. What if only black people had superpowers? So great premise. That's the hook, and it takes stories from the current events. Excellent book. It's a brand new company, Black Mask. A lot of my friends worked on it. Jamal Engel, Kerry Randolph. He did the covers. Sarah Litt was the editor. Incredible book, must read. And we always have a signing for this book, by the way. Another great book. This is a European book, sort of like a heavy metal book, from Dark Horse. It's called Black Sad. He's all the characters are like, I guess, animals, right? But he's like a detective. And this became such a great, I guess, worldwide phenomenon that they even made a game out of it. I believe it's a Xbox One game. But You should definitely check it out. It's a great, great book, self-contained. They even have a sequel to it. Bloodshot, another great book. Okay, so I sold out of the one I really wanted to showcase, which was the Bloodshot Definitive. That book is the first Bloodshot you should read. When you read that book, you become a Bloodshot fan. It's fast-paced, great origin, incredible book. This is the one right after that. Another book is called The Boys. Became a TV show written by Garth Ennis. So what is this is almost like what if superheroes were real, like real people. They screw around. You know, they have vices, and they look good for the camera, but in reality, they're real assholes. Or excuse my language. Okay, Deadly Class, one of my favorite books of all time. Um, Remainder and Wes Craig, and even the Luridge. Okay, so this book is a classic. It's so good. It became a TV show, I believe, on Sci-Fi, produced by the Russo brothers. Basically, it's like what if John Wick he was young and he went to high school, and the high school was full of assassins. And in this high school, they only taught how to kill people and become assassins. So like there's a class on poison, class on knives, class on espionage. So you throw that in, but since it's a co-ed high school, everybody's hormone is raging, and they want to hook up with each other. And then of course you have the jilted boyfriends, girlfriends. So you mix all that in. That's Deadly Class. It's such a fun read, such fast paced. Remainder is one of the most underrated writers. Whatever he writes is extremely fast paced. He doesn't screw around. Great dialogue, great action, extremely fast paced, great story. But the one thing I want to note about this book, it's one of the few books I've ever read where the entire team elevates the book. It doesn't just make it good or better, it makes it a masterpiece. So Reminder's writing, Wes Craig's art, even the letterer and the colorist, everything they added, it becomes a it becomes greater than the sum of its parts, almost like a great movie. So check it out. It's only $10, the first one. You won't regret it. It is incredible. Okay, another great book. Another one of my favorites. I keep saying that, but it really is. Paper Girls, written by the great Brian K. Vaughan. Uh, it's sort of like uh, Stranger Things. Very similar. It takes place in the 80s, either late 70s or 80s. And they're very young girls, four young girls. They're about 12 to 14. And they actually literally deliver newspapers. They're newspaper girls. That's why they call paper girls. And it's the first day of a new writer. She's a newbie. She gets introduced to the gang. They give her a hard time. But the thing about this story is that as soon as they start the paper out, they get accosted by aliens from outer space. So they stumble on it, and you would think, what the hell is going on? Nothing makes sense. So you think nothing makes sense, but everything that happens after that makes perfect sense. There's time travel. They see their future selves. They see, just incredible characters coming out. Many characters being introduced, and you would think you would get confused, but he's such a good writer. Everything makes sense, and the best part of this book is the dialogue. You really get to appreciate the dialogue because, like I said before, nobody writes dialogue like Brent K. Vaughan. Okay, another one of my favorites, Southern Bastards. Oops, sorry, my gimbal's messing up. Southern Bastards is another classic that should be a masterpiece. It's a film noir, which basically means there's no good guys. Everybody's a bad guy. And the genius of Jason Aaron is that he always writes about the South. And in this first volume, this older gentleman goes to the South and he hates the South. He goes to the South and he wants to clear out his father's estate. So he goes there and he just wants to get everything out of there because his father passed away and get out. And as he's driving out of the South, he decides to go to a diner and get something to eat. And he does a good deed as a good Samaritan. And then that deed has an effect and it won't let him go. So now he can't get out of the South because that one event. And it's so brilliant. You gotta read it. You're gonna get chills reading this book. And each book is about one character. So all the side characters get their own book in the next volume. It's a must read, and you should check it out. Another book is from a new company. One of my new favorite companies is from TKO. Now all their books are, when they release it, they release in two forms. The book is already done, so you don't have to wait for issues. You could buy it as a trade for $20, complete, or you could buy it as 5 issue, floppies, in a box set. Those are $29.99. They're very retailer friendly. So whatever they sell, if you order from them and you pick a store, they'll send half the proceeds to the store. But we actually carry them, and we have the whole line. They have the best writers and artists on it. And like I said, the book is, when they release the book, it's already complete. So they call it binge reading, almost like Netflix. So I want to give them a shout out. I read 3 of the books. Excellent. They already sold out. The best one, I thought it was Sarah by Garth Ennis. Sold out of it twice. We already made 3 separate orders from them, huge orders, and they keep selling out. So check them out. They have 7, 8 books. Each one is brilliant. Each one has major names attached to it, and you should give it a chance. It's only negative thing I could say is that it's a little bit oversized. If you compare regular trades with that, it's a little wider and taller. So it makes it kind of difficult for a retailer to rack it. It won't fit in my bookshelf. So it's very tough for me to rack it. So what I have to do is I have to create a new bookshelf, or I have to rack it on a little easel in front of the counter. But the book sells itself. I've noticed that once a customer buys one book from TKO, they'll end up getting all of them because it's that good, and it's so affordable. $20, you can't beat it. So kudos to TKO. I believe they're a brand new company, but this business model could work for the new wave of comic book shops, because they're outside of the box. You can't order through Diamond. You order directly from them. So we order directly from them, and they ship it right to me at a very reasonable price. So I think this might be the new model or template that all the small publishers or even big ones should follow, because it's so well thought of. All right, so that concludes our brief section, our DC bookshelf section. I'm gonna make another video in a few minutes, and I'm gonna showcase our independent books. Thank you so much for watching, and I apologize for the long length. There's so many good books, it's tough to make it short, and I'm sure I missed some books. Please put it in the comments which books you want me to showcase. If you have a favorite, I'll showcase it. And like I said, next week is the final week of our sale. We have a current sale going on, 20% off for everyone and 30% off for members. We do curbside pickup, or we could ship it out to you. Shipping is very nominal, $4 shipping. If it's $50 or more, it's free shipping. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in a few minutes for the independent books.